Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and pot up some tomatoes. Now, my neighbor had given me some seeds last year, and they were German Queen, and they were really good tomatoes. I mean, I really enjoyed those tomatoes. They were very tasty, they grew very well, so we're going to try them again. One of these is a German Queen. I want to say the other one is something different, but I cannot remember what it is. Oh, it's a green zebra tomato. That's what it is. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pot these up. Now, I started off with this one here. You can't really see it, I'm sure, because it's a black pot. But I've got about 3 or 4 inches of straight compost in the bottom. Alright, and so then what I'm going to do, set these over here, is I'm going to squeeze the pot, just to kind of loosen things up. Take it out, and you can see it's not too terrible root mound, but it was getting there. I'm going to break the roots up just a little bit, and I'm going to leave that about where I want it. Now keep in mind, if you go deep, that shouldn't be a problem with tomatoes because they will actually grow roots up off the stem. But the flip side of that is that I don't want to go too deep because this is a shallow pot. You know, whereas if I was doing it in the garden, I would probably go a bit deeper because there's more room for the roots. And this is about 5 gallons, which is, you know, a pretty good amount for the tomato as far as root space, I guess, root volume. And this is, I did a video about how to refresh your potting soil. And this is that potting soil. It's got some worms in it. It's got the old potting soil and a whole bunch of compost. Well, not a whole bunch. It's got a good chunk of compost, to put it that way. How much? You know, about that much. Alright. Mr. Wormy, you can go in there. You'll do good things in that dirt, I'm sure. Alright, simple as that. Alright. So I got those to do. Now, as far as can you plant tomatoes this time of year? Well, it's your garden. You can do whatever the heck you want. But should you? I should be able to get some tomatoes, hopefully. Here in northeast Florida, Jacksonville area, it really doesn't get cold until like December at the earliest, and usually even then it's like January time frame. But one of the reasons I'm doing these in pots instead of in the garden is so that if it does get an unexpected cold snap, I can go ahead and throw these in my greenhouse or even bring them inside just through the cold, just, you know, until the cold passes. Because usually the cold snaps around here will only last a couple of days and we'll be back up in the 80s again. So, really not a problem unless you have your tomatoes, like I said, if they're outside in the actual garden and it freezes, that's a whole nother animal. Alright, because it'll probably kill them then. Now I believe this is a 3-gallon pot, which, to be honest with you, is probably a little bit small. I don't have another 5-gallon pot at the moment. And I want to get this in the ground and in the sun so that it can get some growth going. Now I did grow one in a 3-gallon pot last year, and it did quite well and produced quite a few tomatoes. Alright, so there's that. Now I've got some, well, I'm probably not going to show you this, but I've also got some celery. Now, I grew the celery last year, and it did just fine. Not sure what that is, but I grew it last year. It did really fine. I've got a spot in my back on my patio, which is a little bit dark right there to be filming, so I won't do that right at the moment. But I'm going to go ahead and get these planted up inside there. It gets about half a day of sunshine or so, a little over. I mean, like it shades out at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Gets sun from the very first part of the morning until about 2 in the afternoon. So it gets enough sun but the late afternoon sun it's shielded from, so it seems to want to keep the celery growing. It did really good last year, so we're going to try it again. I've heard so many people say that you just can't grow celery here in Jacksonville, and I will tell you that's just not true. I had a pretty good celery crop last year for the 4 plants that I had. They grew very well. They grew really tall and nice thick stalks, so we were very pleased with that. We let some of them go a little bit too long. And then this here is the dirt from last year, which I'm going to go ahead and once I fill up everything here and take care of what I want to, I'm going to put this dirt back in here, mix in some more compost, and then I'm going to put that back in here, and we're going to grow some leafy greens, probably some spinach of various sorts, and well, I probably won't do spinach in here. I'll probably just do the lettuce. With pots this small, you really got to watch what you plant, because you don't want anything that requires deep roots, okay? And the lettuce did fine in this last year, and so I'm going to do that again, because you know, we like to have some fresh lettuce. And it's really nice on the back patio because I can get to it real quick and easy. So if we decide we want a salad, I just pop out back, snap, 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 I got me a salad. So that's what I got going on. As far as getting to planting right now, I mean, I highly recommend it. A lot of things are going to need to be planted. I've got some weeding to do in the garden, and once I get the weeds kind of cleared out, and don't get me wrong, I could have pulled them earlier, but I kind of want to leave them there because even right now it's like 80 some odd degrees. It's still a little bit warm, so that shades the soil a little bit, keeps the life going in the soil, keeps it a little more moist. And so hopefully that will help when I actually do plant them, so that everything grows just a little bit better. As far as fertilizer, I don't use fertilizer, but I will say, I got to admit, you know, I'm using some potting soil, and this was fresh potting soil last year, and it had fertilizer in it. Most of that potting soil, though, says that it's only going to promote growth for 3 months, 90 days is what they claim. And you know, that may be true, may not be true, I don't know. It might last a little longer, but that's why I put a bunch of compost in with the soil, so that way it kind of refreshes it and gives it that longer lasting fertilizer that you know, fertilizing action that you get from compost. And then if you watch my last video, which I'll go ahead and put a link on it here, when I dumped out this soil, there was that one bucket over there in particular had a ton of worms in it. So that's pretty much just like, you know, worm castings that was in that dirt. So real happy with that, and that's also in here, so all the worm castings have been mixed in and stirred in, so that should be healthy for the soil as well. Either way, I should get some growth, maybe not a huge amount of growth, but I should get a good bit of growth, and we'll find out. You know, everything's an experiment in the garden. You never really know what you're going to get until you actually go by planting it. But you know, it's that time of year to get back into it, so you'll be seeing more videos. I'll be doing more work in the garden. I got to get some food growing again, and then we'll be doing things like how to winterize certain things, and what you can do to hopefully keep some of that growing until the spring comes. Because we don't want to have to start the spring off fresh. We don't want to have to start the spring off with nothing. And I really don't want to have to go buy plants. It was really nice of my neighbor Gordon to give me these plants that he grew extras. So that did help me out a bit. I wasn't really planning too much on growing some tomatoes. I do have some cherry tomatoes that are still alive because they've been kind of shaded in the afternoon. So I'll be able to hopefully get some harvest off of them. Then I will do some cuttings from those, and I'll try and get them to grow and see how long I can keep the cherry tomatoes growing as well. That's what I got going on. Hopefully we're going to have tomatoes for the wintertime. Alright, so thanks once again, or thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate you all taking a look at my videos. Do me a favor, give me a like and a subscribe. Let me know what you think. You know, I do love the comments. I got to admit, I haven't been up on them as much as I should have been, but I will here shortly. I'll be getting back onto it. And like I said, it's that time of year again where it's time to start putting things in the ground after our summer season is kind of left us. Alright, so either way, thanks for stopping by. Do me a favor, like and subscribe like I said, and grow something. Get something growing in your yard. You'll thank yourself later, and it's really nice to have some fresh grown food you know, in your backyard to grab when you want. All right, y'all take care and come back and see me.